Hi everyone, my name is Katie and I wanted to record a video today about my experience of working out in Dubai. It actually made me laugh. I've deleted it now and I wish I hadn't, because at the time I was like but in my video from years ago, when I said I was going out to Dubai, I noticed there was a comment that basically said a lot of British girls go out to Dubai for prostitution, so that's probably what she's going to do. Not the case, I can just say that much. First of all, I don't think when I was living out there I met any British girls who were working out there as prostitutes, and also obviously that was not something that I was doing either. Nothing against that. If you want to do that, then live and let live and all that, but that was not what I went out there for. I actually went out and worked as an estate agent, or a real estate broker as they call it out there. That's actually how I ended up going out there, was because I was looking for estate agent jobs in the UK and I saw an advert for a job in Dubai, and it was raining at the time in the UK, it was cold, it was like February and it was freezing and miserable. And so I just sent my CV off, didn't think that anything would probably come of it, but I kept going through the stages for the interview process and eventually got offered the position out there, and decided that I should go. So I'll do, if that is of interest, like that whole process and my reasons for going, I can do a separate video on that. But today I wanted to just focus on how working out there as a estate agent or a real estate broker was for me, my experience of it. It is something that a lot of people, or obviously I've met a lot of people who have gone out and done, and obviously I have since come back and I've decided not to stay out there and do that. So I guess I just wanted to give a bit of insight if you are looking to go out and do that, a bit of a sort of real insight into how that job works out there, because it is very different to working as an estate agent in the UK. So the first thing I would say about going out to Dubai and working as an estate agent is that their sort of real estate process is a lot different to home here in the UK. So it is constantly changing. Obviously their legislation and regulation on that industry has and is becoming much tighter. Back in the day, and I'm talking like the 2008 or pre-2008 years, when the Dubai real estate market was going absolutely crazy. I wasn't working out there at the time, but I was aware, or the people that I was working with who were out there, it was basically just everyone was selling property here, right, you know, left, right, centre. They said that like taxi drivers, you'd get in a taxi and they would be offering you off-plan properties, and because of the crash, obviously a lot of people lost a lot in terms of money. A lot of the construction companies weren't able to deliver on some of the buildings. So for example, there is the Dubai Pearl project, which is half built, and I know people who have purchased apartments in that project, and obviously if it ever does get finished it'll be amazing, but it potentially may never happen. So because of that, there is a lot more restriction in the Dubai real estate field. You do have to be a licensed real estate broker through a program called RERA, which is the Real Estate Regulatory Agency, and that is a program and a certification that you get and you have to do to become a licensed real estate broker. Now, there's a few different ways that companies out there do this. Now obviously it is a legal requirement, so if you are caught out there working as an estate agent and you do not have your RERA certification, you can get into a lot of trouble. It's fines, and you will get fined personally, and your company will get fined also. I think if you get caught doing it multiple times, you can even face sort of legal prison. I don't think it would actually come to that, because the UAE government are quite aware of, obviously a lot of people, especially sort of Western people, go out to the UAE for working in real estate, but it's not something that you want to get caught up in. And the reason I mention this is my company, it was the first thing we did. We were not allowed to work without having done our RERA exam. Now that is a difficult thing to decide to do, because you do have to pay for it. I think it was was it, I think it was like in pounds, like £800 or something, just to do the certification to get to start working out there. So that was something that as soon as I landed, I knew that I was going to have to pay out to do the certification. And obviously you're not having any sort of income and you haven't even started working out there, it might not work, you might not get your visa sorted. I did go out without a visa, I was just on a tourist visa while I was doing the RERA certification, but you cannot get a work visa to be an estate agent without having the RERA certification. So there's loads of different things that I guess like pay into getting qualified out there and actually being able to work, and the order in which you can do that is quite difficult. I was living with some girls who were working for a different company and they were working without their RERA certification. I think they did 3 months or something without being certified, and they took the risk. Now, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is what it is. That is how it works out there. Different companies do different things, and there's a lot of grey area in terms of the law and what people do. So once I had my RERA certification, we were able to work. Now, a few ways that the property market differs from the UK is that at the time that I was working, there was no restriction on the number of agents that could have a listing. So you would be fighting for listings. That was the way that you would get calls and leads and be able to then earn money. At the time that I was working out there was no restriction, so the same listing could be had by like 50 estate agents. While I was out there, they actually brought in a restriction on that, so a homeowner could only rent or sell through 3 different brokers, which obviously sort of restricted the market a little bit, and probably would make your job a little bit easier in some respects, because you're not fighting so many people for the same listing. Having said that though, obviously if you got there after the 3 agents had that listing, you could not advertise that property. So it's all changing so fast out there, but that was something that actually came into effect while I was there. Because of that, there's actually a lot of fake listings out there. So people or agencies would put fake listings, fake adverts effectively online to get calls and to get leads, and then they would do it the reverse way. Now, something else that I need to sort of discuss, which actually is illegal out there, is cold calling. So basically what happens is the developers, so there's 2 main sort of government developers, Emaar and, what's the other one? Nakheel. They are like the 2 government developers, so they do a lot of the big projects. And when people purchase the off-plan properties, they then sell the lists of their names and contact details and which property they've bought to all the estate agents out there. Now, this is completely illegal, and the idea is then the estate agents can call all of the homeowners and fight for the listings. This was something that was a difficult one, because basically I was told by the company that I was working for that if you did not do this, you wouldn't get listings and it wouldn't work. Now, what I was effectively doing was breaking the law, and obviously that has connotations to it. That is a risk that I was taking, and I think in a lot of ways I would not have wanted to take that risk, but if it means that you cannot work out there without doing that, then it's something that I guess you have to take a view on. If you are someone that likes to stick to the letter of the law in a country, don't go out and be an estate agent, because there will be a lot of times where you will need or be pressured to do things that are breaking the law. So that is one thing just to say. There's a lot of cold calling. I did I think 500 calls in a day once, just hitting the phones, going down the list, seeing if anyone was looking to rent or sell their property. It's hard work. Now, I should probably just talk a bit about how the sort of the pay works out there. So I was on, which was quite standard, a package whereby the company obviously paid for my visa and everything. When I went out there, they paid me a basic for 3 months, which was not much. It worked out to about £800 a month. Was it even that? Yeah, it was about £800 a month at the time, probably a bit less than that with the exchange rate. which was just about enough to cover accommodation and nothing else. And with that, while I was getting that money, I would take 25% of whatever I brought into the company. Following those 3 months, I was on a 50-50 or a 50% commission plan only. So what I brought in, I would take 50% of that, and that was what I had to live on. Obviously, if you're doing really well, that can work out really well for you. But if you're not, then you would not earn any money. It's as simple as that. So that does bring out a fight, I guess, for all the listings and for the deals out there. And it is a very tough, brutal environment. And one of the reasons eventually why I decided to leave was because it sort of started to consume my whole entire life. I wasn't enjoying living out in Dubai because I never knew where my next deal was going to come from. I didn't know from month to month how much money I would be having to live on, whether I'd have loads of disposable money, or whether I would just be scraping by trying to get the next listing. And it basically meant that I was working constantly. I think I went for about 3 months without taking a full day off. I was working, the days of the week the work week works differently out there, so it's Sunday to Thursday, and then obviously Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays, you would still be showing listings and things like that. So I might be out of the office, but I would be doing a lot of viewings, and I just felt burnt out, and I knew that actually I wasn't enjoying living out there because I was just working constantly. Because if you missed out on an opportunity, you might not get that again, because everyone has all the same listings. The people that are looking for properties out there know that they can call pretty much any agent. Sorry, I ran out of space on my phone, but basically because everyone has the same listings, it felt very much that there was a big sort of consumer culture, which there was, from the people looking for properties. So they would there was no sort of barrier between giving you a personal life or your work life. I would get messages and calls at like 10 o'clock at night every day of the week, and it just I felt like I wasn't enjoying living in Dubai because I was working all the time. I'm going to wrap this up because I've got no storage, so thank you very much for watching. If you have got any questions about living in Dubai, do leave them down below, because I would like to do a Q&A video and answer any questions that you have about the visa process, about living out there, about, you know, more of the reason why I decided to come home, and how I found it. Do subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye!